Hello, Paradigm Shifters. It's Transformation Tuesday. Oh, yeah. And I'm so grateful for it. Just so grateful that we've been on this journey of transformation since March 2020, where everything was shut down and we really needed this support group. So what is Paradigm Shifters? We are a community, global, dedicated to shift and uplift the planet. How's that, Michael?
It's
Well,
awesome.
planetary, right? Why not? And so right now we're a little over 1,500 strong and from 56 countries. And I just love that our November 2022 topic is courage to change the things I can. So let's take a deep breath in here. Yeah. Yeah. And courage to change the things I can. And for, today's speaker, I just want to say that I know Michael's mom really well. And she told me what you were up to. And I thought, oh my gosh. So let me tell you a little bit about Michael and why this is really dear to my heart and why this is such a needed just what you're doing. So Michael's a sophomore at the University of Miami. Go Canes. I hear
Yes.
Canes, that's hurricane.
Canes. Hurricanes. Yep.
When I saw that, I'm like, Canes. And I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Okay. So University of Miami studying entrepreneurship and finance. How awesome is that? Michael grew up in a family of 5 in Austin, Texas. And 4 days, I'll let you talk a little bit more about this. 4 days after your 16th birthday, you lost your dad to lung cancer. Yeah. And you realize after an 8-month battle, and you realize that cancer doesn't just affect the patient themselves, but the whole community of people around them too. And then I want you to talk about that. But the reason that this is near and dear to my heart, my 3 kids lost their father to lung cancer in 1999. And as a mom, I was so concerned and worried about them.
Mhm.
And so all kinds of things transformed in the years after that I would think, looking what you are about ready to do, I just really think it's so important for just for the children of parents of loss. So come on in here, Michael. Tell us a little bit about your story. Go Canes.
Yes. Well, to you. Yeah. So, I'm Michael. She just introduced me. I'm originally from Austin, Texas, which is how Judy and my mom met originally. But yeah, I'll just hop into my story and talk about what I'm doing right now. So yeah, I'll just hop in. So as we all know, sometimes life throws us some very rotten lemons and challenges us to figure out a way to make lemonade out of it. And so for me, this challenge started my sophomore year of high school, on my couch when I got a call from my dad, who lived in Ohio at the time. And he told me that he had the C word. And for me, cancer was so out of my realm. Like, it wasn't anything that could ever happen to my family, anything that could ever happen to someone that I loved, that I thought he meant that he had a collapsed lung. And I was like, okay, like, he's going to go to the hospital. Everything's okay. And it turns out I was wrong. He actually had stage 4 lung cancer. Um, Being 15 at the time, the future that every kid sees was rapidly disappearing. The meals that I looked forward to him cooking, the brisket that he made, the Browns games that we used to go to together, the drives where he would used to honk and act like there was a deer crossing the street, stopping on the side of the road because he wanted us to think that he ran out of gas. All these little things just started disappearing. And instead of these memories that we grew up having and that we thought we saw in our future, they were replaced by taking the chemo treatments, going to his bed in the middle of the night just to make sure that he's okay, bringing him a trash can to like spit in because of how much he was coughing. And like for me, that it just, of course, like in that time in my life, it's gonna flip my world on my head. Um, and so if you fast forward 8 months, my life as a teenager, whether I wanted it to stay as it was or not, it was gone. Like it it was gone. And so you fast forward 8 months to December. My mom was supposed to be in Dallas for a work trip, and I was staying at my friend's house, and I got a call saying that I need to go home. And I went home, and my mom told me that the cancer spread and that we were flying out to Ohio the next day. Um, and for me, I still had this thing in my head, like, this can't be happening, right? Like, not me, this can't ever happen to me. And it wasn't until I saw my brother in Ohio, who at the time was at West Point, which I don't know if you guys know what West Point is, but you don't get vacation. It's not a normal college. Like, you don't leave unless something big is happening. And so whenever I saw him there, it was like, this is it. Um, and so over the next few days, we spent time at the hospital with my dad, and then he eventually moved into hospice. But he kept uttering these words to us that at the time I didn't realize how important they were going to be to me. But he kept saying, remember the love, focus on the love. Love is the most important thing. And I didn't know this at the time, but those words, it's tattooed across my chest right now. Like, they drive so many decisions that I make in my life. Um, and so now where, he's at home now, he's at hospice. People are coming to see him. I turned 16, and the image that every teenager sees of their parents surprising them with their car, taking a picture outside of their car with parents, was replaced by me and my siblings hovering over his eventual deathbed with a cake, just smiling. And then 4 days later, on December 15th of 2018, he passed away. And so to say that this, again, like, to say it flipped my world on its head is an understatement. The man that I saw as untouchable in my Superman, uh, the guy that I thought was going to be at my wedding, at the birth of my first child, was gone. But it was after he passed away that the real effect of cancer became evident to me. And the amount of people that I had never met in my life that showed up to his wake showed me that this disease isn't like other diseases. Like the flu, COVID, it affects one person. Cancer affects an entire community, right? And so following his death, I had a decision to make. My dad was gone. I could let that tear me to shreds and crumble me, or I could figure out, like, use all these little perspectives and values that he worked so hard and spent so much time instilling into me and my siblings, and live through that instead of letting the negatives tear me down. This experience was by far, and for the rest of my life, will be the most life-altering and tragic experience that I will ever go through. I mean, I hope so. I can't really imagine anything else that can get much worse than that. But because of that, I'm not one to talk to people. Like, I don't like going to little retreats or whatever. Like, that's not me. And so I did everything that I could to hide from the pain and block it out. And I promise you, do not do that. It does not work. Like, I don't recommend that to anyone. But one of these ideas that my dad worked so hard to instill into all of our heads was that life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react. And I promise you, I didn't start living this way until I really started, like, believing in it. But whenever you actually believe those words, your life, I promise you, will change.
So will you say that again, please? Just to take a deep breath in here and just, wow, right there. Can you go ahead and say that again and again and again? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how we react. Like if losing your dad at 16 years old isn't a sign that we don't have that much time on this planet, you can spend all day being upset about something that happens, or you can say, that happened, how am I going to create good out of it?
So
And
I
so,
just gonna just interject here.
mhm,
I'm a retired teacher, and I saw the reaction of kids after a loss, and the anger, the frustration, at least for my daughter, it was like how she was angry at her friends because her friends were just concerned about what they're going to wear to the prom, and she
mhm,
was so angry at them,
mhm.
and nothing I could tell her. I mean, that's good. That's what they're, but nothing I could do as a parent could do that. So I just wanted to just like, boom, it's very real, the after. So go ahead. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so going off of that, um, I began to living through this mindset instead of blocking out and hiding from this pain that was eating me alive every day. I just began to embrace it and look for whether it was out there or not, try to find some light at the end of the tunnel. Judy, you brought me here today to talk about courage to change the things that we can. But to do this, we have to accept that there exist things that we can't control. And for me, this was the first time in my life where I was forced to accept this. And so in this time of me asking myself, why me? Why did this happen to me? Like, what if I did this or that? A Bible verse came up on my phone, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, that says, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not on your own understanding, and all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. And so now I have this verse tattooed on my ribs, actually. And no, I know you might think I'm just trying to be a cool kid with a tattoo, but it's a reminder that every time I look in the mirror, that sometimes I can't fix everything, and that I just have to let go and give it to God and see what he does with it. And so I know that everyone listening here today is not does not believe in God or anything, whatever. But I don't want you to let that get in the way of the meaning of this verse. It's pleading for us to understand that we can't control everything and to let go of the things that we can. And so now that we have this courage to let go, we can look back on the topic of today, courage to change the things that we can. And we can split that up into two different parts. The first part is having that courage to know that you can't control everything, and to having that courage to let go. And then secondly, now that we have let go of all these things that we can't control, that we spent so much of our time trying to fix, the things that we can control and do with every single part of us. And so going forward, I mean, I'm not gonna, these two things, like, honestly, I'm not gonna say that they saved me, but they're very much so were, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't figure these things out. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that living with these two mindsets are going to make your problems disappear. By any means, I still have days where I am not feeling the best. But what it does is it forces you to focus on what's going good instead of what's going bad. And so this shift in mindset is what I attribute to me being where I am today, and what has given me the time to find and create good out of a situation that good is so, so hard to find. And so now 4 years later, I finally, thank God, found the good on the other side of this situation. This past October, I started a club at the University of Miami alongside one of my friends called Canes Fight Cancer. And as I've mentioned throughout this, when you personally have experienced the effect of cancer, there's a perspective that only people that have gone through this can really share. And it's this reason that we created the club. And so while a great deal of our time and our focus is on fundraising for lung and pediatric cancer, the reason and our mission for creating this club is to give those who have been to give those who are going through cancer or have parents that are battling cancer, a community of people around them who have been there before, who know exactly what they're going through, sometimes even before they know what they're going through, and give them a space of love and hope to share and feel safe. And so when you experience something as grand as cancer is, like you said, I'm sure your kids experience this as well. There's a lot of I'm sorries and I'm here for you. And while that's amazing, the value of talking to someone who knows exactly what you're going through, whether, I mean, everyone's experience is unique, but the value of talking to someone who knows that feeling is entirely unmatched. And like I said before, everyone's experiences are unique. But if we can create a community of all of these unique experiences, the feeling of hope and love that is felt creates a space where you can let go. And like we said before, accept that you don't have control. And so I've dropped 3 big things during this talk that I attribute to being where I am today. One of them being life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% how you react. The second one being turning to God or whoever or whatever you believe in and letting go when you don't have control. And then 3, remember the love, focus on the love. Love is the most important thing. And so these perspectives that I hold weren't found at my highest. They were found at the lowest of the low of my life. And I challenge each of you here today listening to, next time you experience adversity or going through something, no matter how big or small, to, instead of letting it crumble you or letting it push you back, find that one little sliver of good that's in it and run with it. And at the beginning of this, I said that losing my dad was life throwing rotten ass lemons at me and challenging me to create lemonade. And so I hope this talk shows you that no matter how bad or how, life altering adversity can get, there is and will always, always be good on the other side.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Oh, thank you so much. Now, I really want to know about your community, how we can support you. I think you said something in a text about the kids of Miami. I want to know what you're doing, because for me, I want to throw all my energy behind you guys. And I see it more than just the Miami. I see this
Yeah,
global. I see
exactly.
it, it's a global that because our youth, your generation, I know you're a young man, but the youth is so important to have leaders and leadership like you. So just tell me, like, how we can support you. I'll drop links all over the place. What
Awesome.
would you love? What would you love, Michael?
Yeah. So we are currently doing 2 different things. So one of the things we're doing is we're doing a whole lot of volunteering to different children's hospitals and going out in that way. And then the second thing we're doing is different fundraising events on campus for students to get involved and be able to donate to causes that affect, like we said, cancer is very global and affects so many people. And in Miami, it's a very global city, so it's people from all over the world. But yeah, so I mean, if you want to donate, we have a GoFundMe that I can send to Judy as well. Other than that, I mean, it's difficult to get involved from Texas.
Not at all. So
But
let me ask you another question. Let's take a deep breath in here, okay? And you're a sophomore, and let's put this out. It's 2022. let's just imagine that it's 2025
Mhm.
and the grass, the seeds that you're planting here have exploded into beautiful trees. What is your vision for you, Michael? I see you as like poof, a leader. What is a vision that you would love to have us hold for you and your organization, or for your generation? And let's just imagine it's 2025, 3 years
My
out. What would you love, 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 love? And
my
we're going to
vision.
send energy like crazy to you. What would you love?
I don't 2025. Oh, I'm so worried about tomorrow.
What if you
I'm
didn't have to worry about tomorrow and it
yeah.
all worked out? And
I
it's
mean,
2020.
my vision is eventually, like, I started this club on campus. So it's a club, but I think of it as a nonprofit. I've said this for the past, I think, year and a half. I really wanted to like start my own business and then become successful enough to go and create my own mission trip company. And so I can go and use the funds that I've created through the different, hopefully, companies that I've started, and go and just different third world countries, and do little mission trips. So
Oh, wow. Right here in this community, phew, just from what you just shared, we're a little bit older than you guys. We're in different countries, but it would be so beautiful. We totally see it. So what we're going to do now, we're going to rub our hand and we're going to send energy to you, Michael. And you know how to catch the energy? We're going to throw all of our energy right into you and to your mission and your missions as they grow. So here you go. You ready? Got it? You feel it? Yeah.
got it.
Well, thank you so much. And, you've touched my heart. And this, I'm so grateful for you, and totally see you being one of the future, well, you already are a leader on campus, but growing and growing and growing. And
Thank you so much. Yeah,
yeah, thank you for this message. Yeah. Aw, thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Amen.